Hey everybody, welcome to Ohana and Imagine Plexus Team Training and Inspiration Call. It's September 19th and Brooke and I just got home from Kona, Hawaii yesterday for the Emerald Extravaganza. And we're so excited to share some of our takeaways with you while we were there. There were some really great trainings there that we got to sit in on, and we had a lot of time to sit and think about all of you all and kind of do more self-reflection than normal. So those are some of the things we're going to talk about tonight. Brooke, you want to take it away?
All right. So first of all, before we start, you guys saw posted in Ohana and Imagine Plexus, we're having a virtual party on Thursday. And we want you to really go out of your way and outside of your comfort zone, us included, and reach out to as many people as possible until you get 3 yeses. So that means you're just going to keep asking and inviting until you get 3 yeses. And then Emily did a great little, blurb of what you could share with people to invite them, or you can create your own. Just don't make it a novel. Remember, keep things short and sweet, be enthusiastic and excited. You can leave a voice message or a written message, doesn't matter. You can attach the graphic if you want to, doesn't matter. Don't just put it up on Facebook, because that will never be enough to get people to come. You have to personally invite. So that's number 1. That is going to be at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Hawaii time. Adjust times according to your time zone. If any of you are dying to give your health testimonial and you want to share, let us know. We always try to have a variety of health testimonials, different experiences, male, female, young, old, all different kinds of issues. So if you're someone that's like, man, I would really love to share my testimonial, let us know. Okay? So that's Thursday. We want that to be rocking. You guys know we still have the 3+3 promotion that Plexus is doing this month. And so you'll notice that we are not doing a ton of incentives this month. We've done a lot of incentives in months past ourselves, but we are letting Plexus do the incentive this month. And we feel like it's a really great incentive for you guys to get the word out there and to be doing your IPAs and reaching out to people, because it's a free $100 basically for doing a lot of the things you already do. So enrolling 3 new ambassadors with a welcome pack and 3 preferred customers. Remember those preferred, or it could be retail too. 3 customers. I just never do retail. Always preferred all the way if you're going to have a customer. They only have to have 50 PV. So you know those people that you've gone back and forth with forever and they just haven't gotten off the fence and they can't decide? This is a perfect time to reach out to them and say, hey, why don't we just get you started on a bag of Slim? Why don't you just give it a try? You have a 60-day money-back guarantee. You may as well just give it a try, at least that. Or somebody else that you think could benefit from the vitamins, the omega, the probiotic, those 3 things or 2 of those things. Whatever gets under 50 PV, that's all you need to have 3 customers. And so we feel like maybe you haven't been taking as much advantage of that awesome promotion as possible. And we want you to really understand how great it is when the company does these promotions, because that's $100 extra on top of what you already make. So take advantage of this, work your tail off to achieve it. I'm working my tail off to achieve it. I've involved my husband in it. Together we're working on people that we can get as customers, that we know hands down absolutely aren't going to join, but we can get them to at least try the pink drink. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn it over to Emily. She's going to talk just a little bit about incentives and why we're just kind of like putting the brakes on the incentives just a little bit.
So one of the things that Brooke and I talked about in Hawaii was that a lot of times it's exciting when you have an incentive and you want to tell your friend, like, don't miss out. You've got to take advantage of this special. And Brooke joined last September with no incentive, and I joined last October with no incentive. And I thought, and there was no incentive when we were working the business until December. And one of the things that I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed this too, but as a mom, when my kids were, after I would have a baby, I'd always position the baby over my front section in a picture, because I wanted everyone to look at my baby, and maybe not necessarily, I wasn't so comfortable with how I was looking right after I had a baby. And I would use the baby as a crutch. And I think that it's possible that maybe some of us have gotten used to incentives as a crutch. And it might be, maybe you're thinking to yourself, oh, it's so hard to cold contact people. I can't get excited about it unless I have an incentive. And I don't want anyone to feel like this is not a good deal at full price, because what I want everybody to know is that when we are messaging people about Plexus, it's a great deal because it's going to change their life. And $165, while that is a financial commitment for people, it's still a great deal. And if you are struggling with that belief, I would encourage you to go to the grocery store or go to the health food store and take your triplex and X Factor with you, and go do a side-by-side comparison with your calculator on your phone. And I want you to add up what all of the ingredients, and you're going to have to get about 16 bottles of the different products that the different ingredients that Plexus has in those 4 products. And the reason why I'm encouraging you to do this is because I did this really early on, because there was no incentive, and I had people telling me, I can get the same price at the grocery store. I can get a better price at the health food store. And so I just would not take I would not take no for an answer. I'm sure no one is surprised about that. And so I set out and I added it all up, and it was actually more expensive to buy everything separately. So if you are feeling like your belief in the cost of Plexus full price is too much, that is one way that helped me overcome that obstacle. And I want you to know that I think it's really good skill to hone, to not let an incentive be the only thing that gets you excited when you reach out to people. So I know it's easy to get into that habit of, doing like a cold contacting blitz. If you have something like, it's $15 off, I don't want you to miss out. We gotta have you join before the end of the month. What if we took that opportunity and said, I am still having life-changing results with these products. I don't want you to miss out. I really want you to take advantage as soon as possible, because I know it's going to change your life, because it's changed my life. I really want to help you order this month. What can I do to help you get ready to do that? Because I know these products are worth it. And so you can still change your wording without the incentive and have it be just as exciting and just as easy to reach out. So get something like that written up, and then just copy and paste it, you guys, because it's a great deal. And once you realize and understand how good it is for the body and how we are doing preventative care for the body instead of triage on the back end, that in itself is going to save everyone tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars long-term care. And it takes just 1 second for someone in your life that you have close to you to get sick, for you to understand how important it is for you to invest in yourself right now. Because death is coming to us all every day, and we just can't fight. There's not a way to skip over illness in this life. It's part of this life. But we can give our bodies everything that they need to be strong enough to maybe ward off some of the things that don't necessarily need to be part of our story if we do that preventative care now. And so I just hope that everyone will, look at full price as incentive enough to get out there and hone those skills. And it's okay if you feel like that is outside of your comfort zone, because maybe you've only ever reached out with incentives. And so that's why I like to give you the example of starting off by saying, I still feel amazing. I can't believe the change that Plexus has made in my life, and I just want this for you. And this is, I've compared the prices. It's less expensive than the grocery store and the health food store. And I want to get these products to you as soon as possible. Would you be interested in getting started this month? I don't want you to miss out. It's the same message, right? Because at the end of the day, $15 off is really not that much off. It's really not that big of an incentive, but people jump through hoops to get it. And you want to know why? Because we are so excited and passionate about telling them now they need to join and they can't miss out. We can do that without an incentive. We can bring that same excitement and that same energy without any incentive. And when we only have an incentive, it cheapens the products. And we know these products are anything but cheap. They are quality. They are life-changing.
Yes. Amen. She just took us to church, but that's just something that had really been on our mind, and why, honestly, why we haven't really done any like big sort of incentive thing this month, because like she said, she and I joined when there was no incentive, and we started building our teams rapidly when there was no incentive. But that comes from IPA, and that comes from passion, and you have to find that passion. And there are 3 things that we're really focusing on in our Journey 101 this month, and it's belief. Belief in the products, belief in the opportunity, and belief in yourself. And if you're lacking in any one of those areas, you're going to struggle to do the things that you need to do to move you forward. So whatever you're struggling with, we want to encourage you to work on that area. Just what Emily said is right on. But if you still struggle with the cost thing or any other kind of objection, there are a gazillion videos out there on YouTube. And I feel like one of the if I'm talking in general, because in this talk we wanted to talk about our journey to Emerald and beyond and how we got to where we were. One of the things that I know I did and Emily did obsessively probably in the beginning was fill our mind with Plexus stuff. Watch videos left and right and learn from those people that are already diamonds, that are already in the company, that have great little nuggets to share with us. Learn what they say, learn what they feel. Actually go and do the research yourself. Don't trust me, don't trust Emily. Actually go to the grocery store and price things out, because Emily can tell you that and you can think, wow, that's cool. But if you actually go and do it, then you'll believe it. We can spoon feed you a lot of things and you'll save them and you'll think they're great, but you won't have that same rock solid belief if you have to go and look at why Plexus would help someone with PCOS, or why Plexus would help someone endure their cancer treatment, or why Plexus is going to help with high blood pressure. Like, you're going to build the belief even more and get way more excited and passionate when you share, when you've had to do that work. That's not to say we're not here to help you or your uplines aren't here to help you. They are. But the first thing you should always do is look for yourself and try to find the answer yourself. And then if you need confirmation or you're just not sure, then coming to your upline. So I think when I think about my journey to where I've been so far and how I've gotten here, it was number 1, really committing myself to understanding, learning, and believing in the products. That was the number 1 thing for me. And then the second thing was really getting a belief for the opportunity. And I know that was one of the questions was, how do I build a belief in this business model? And how do I build faith in this business model that this can actually happen for me? I think that that's a valid question, because if I'm completely honest with you, I don't think I really believed it until I was between like Ruby, Senior Ruby, till I had about 150 people on my team. Did I really believe that this is legitimately a legitimate income and a legitimate opportunity for me? I wish I could say I felt that at Gold or Senior Gold, but I didn't. I know Emily felt it a little bit earlier than I did. For me, it took a little bit longer to believe. She was more like Senior Gold and I was more like Ruby, Senior Ruby, that I really believed. But I had hope and I had faith that I knew my upline, Amy. I knew she was a good person. She was my friend. I trusted her. I believed her. I think the same thing is true with Emily believing me. And maybe the same thing is you believing me or you believing Emily. Just believing us and having that faith and having that hope. And then what do you do with that? Again, you have to fill your mind with the positive reinforcement. Again, that goes back to watching videos, looking at diamond documentaries. There were times when I would have my laptop out and I would be doing the dishes and I would listen to diamond documentary after diamond documentary after diamond documentary. Now, Emily and I know pretty much all of those people. So it makes it even more real. We just spent the last week with them. And so you're not there yet, and that's okay. But what do you have to do to build your belief? Well, number one, you have to engage in the activity every single day to build your business. Number two, you have to fill your mind and your spirit with things that are uplifting, like those diamond documentaries or Sonia Dudley's, video on uphill living, or all these great videos that are out there that help you to put things into perspective and to see that this really is possible. I think it helps to know that Plexus is a debt-free company. It helps to know, oops, little one. It helps to know that we're backed by Morgan Stanley, that we've been on the Inc. 500, like high up on the list. I mean, our company is legitimately in solid condition. They are set to be a legacy company. What that means is they want to be one of those companies like, I don't know, like Amway. I hate to even say Amway, but these companies that have been around for decades. And that's exactly what Plexus is set up to do. And so I would say, building your belief is going to, can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. Building your belief is going to rely on you doing number one, the work, and number two, the testimonials, the diamond documentaries. You've got to believe in that opportunity before you are compelled to really, really go after it. And I just had a flicker of hope and like a little bit of a dream, and this thought like, well, why not me? If this person that I just watched their diamond documentary, if they could do it, why not me? I don't know if, Emily, you have anything to add to that. Belief and opportunity.
I think that was one of the things that Brooke said really early on to me. And I had always thought, anybody that was ever successful in network marketing just got lucky. And I think that's why I kind of jumped in feet first right off the bat, because I was like, woohoo, I'm in Utah. No one's going to Plexus. Let's go. This will be a piece of cake. And it has not been a piece of cake. And I think it's hilarious that that's what people think network marketing is. It certainly has not been my experience with network marketing. And there has been no luck with it other than the grace of God bringing Plexus into my life at a time where I needed it the very most and where my friends needed it the very most. And that certainly has given us a lot of opportunity to get great momentum. However, I would have never been able to have that momentum if I just posted on Facebook and mentioned in passing Plexus to people. It's because we are active every day in reaching out to people, and then we follow up, and then we keep following up, and then we keep reaching out to people because we care about them and we want to see them be successful, and then we help them to help others. So I just think that there's so much out there that we can prove and do it differently to show people that Plexus truly does do network marketing the way it could be done, should be done, but rarely ever is. And I want my name on that work.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that holds people back is, you can theoretically think, gosh, the business model is great and the compensation is great. But when it comes down to it, they don't believe that they can do it. They don't believe that they're worthy of success. They're afraid of failure. They don't believe that they have what it takes to make it. And so if that's you, and as I'm talking, you're feeling like, I'm not a Brooke or I'm not an Emily. Well, let me tell you, Emily, right? There were all kinds of people at the Emerald Extravaganza that were diamonds, that were nothing like me, nothing like Emily, all kinds of people from all walks of life, all ages. Anybody can do this, but you have to get out of your own way. You have to get past your fear of failure. You have to work on yourself. And there is nothing like network marketing to tear off the Band-Aids and expose the wounds and all of your insecurities and everything that you've been afraid of. There's nothing like network marketing to do that, because it's certainly done that for me, and it continues to do that for me, and it continues to push me into territory that is uncomfortable and unfamiliar, that I have never, it's not a comfortable place to be in. And so we've got things in place to help you. You know, we do book clubs on a monthly, you know, weekly basis. And we do these things not because we're like, yay, we want to take extra time out of our day. Like, we love it, but we do it because we want you guys to also do the work. And we know that we have to do the work. And we want to pour into you and invest in you if you will do the same. But you have to do the work to change what's going on up here. We can't do that for you. We can be your biggest cheerleader and coach you and cheer you on, but you've got to do that work to work on your self-belief. And sometimes that takes getting a counselor. Sometimes that takes a lot of time on your knees praying. Sometimes it takes reading a lot of books. Sometimes it takes, you know, changing your whole life situation. There's a whole, I mean, everybody needs something different, but that's the core of it, is you have to believe that you actually have everything within you already to do this. You just have to unleash it and uncover it. So that's probably the root of it all, honestly, is believing that it's possible for you to do it. And if you have that self-belief, then the belief in the opportunity and the belief in the products, well, that's a no-brainer. That'll just come because you believe in yourself and you already know the products are great. So, you know, there was another question about the MLM stigma. And, you know, what do you say to people that are really skeptical? And so we actually wanted to turn the time over to Leah a little bit. Leah Carlson, because she's really great at talking about this, and there is such a stigma in certain markets. I can't relate to that, honestly, because I didn't have any sort of stigma about MLMs because I didn't grow up around MLMs, but I know a lot of you have. So we'll turn some time over to Leah.
Thank you, Brooke. All right. So I've never really been excited about MLMs. Like, I just kind of stayed away from them, and my parents kind of were, you know, they kind of taught me, like, just stay away from them. It's not anything that's going to make you any money. And I've had friends reach out to me about certain things, and I was always like, that sounds cool, but I don't have like $1,500 to join, you know, or I don't have all this money to invest in something like that. And so when I look into, you know, when I looked into it, first of all, my mom reached out to me when I joined and was like, what are you doing? You know, like, you should not be joining this company, like MLMs are a scheme, blah, blah, blah. And so, you know, I looked into it, and basically I'm kind of looking at my notes, but, you know, you have to look at the fruits of the company, you know, like, what is their product? Because when you think of, you know, oh, it's a pyramid scheme, that means that there's no product, and that, you know, you're just joining with this huge fee, and all that money is going up to like the top of the company, and, you know, there's only a few people at the top of the company making all that money, and no one else is ever going to make any money. But, you know, look at what our products are doing. Okay, they're changing lives. They are, like Emily said, they're not super expensive. They're very comparable. Do we claim miracles and quick cures? A lot of people think we do, but we really don't. Like, we keep saying, you know, this is not a quick fix. This is something that, you know, it takes time, and it's proven. These ingredients are proven, and there's research to back that up. And then, sorry, I'm looking. Oh yeah, okay. So that's, I mean, that was basically, it really didn't take me that long to convince myself that it was okay. I totally trust Emily, and I had a few other friends doing it, and so I'm like, well, if they're doing it, then I know it's legitimate, and like watching the Diamond documentaries, you know, it helps me see that it's real. And really, I mean, I've been with you guys since Emily was, I think, gold. And so I've watched her grow, and I've watched Brooke grow, and I've seen their hard work and, ranking up and paying, just all pays off. And so I know that it's real and it works. That's all I have to say about that. But did you want me to go into the other thing?
Yeah.
Too? Okay.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, what do we do when things are going slowly? And I have definitely experienced this. Okay. I've had so much personal growth in this area because, I joined when I was like 35 weeks pregnant. And so I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I have so much on my plate and I have no idea why I'm doing this, but I felt good about the products and I knew I couldn't just keep quiet about it. And so, I had my baby and I kept sharing and kept sharing. And I had a month or two, over the last 7 months that I did not have one person join, and as I've looked back, as I've looked back, I can see that there were some personal growth areas that I had not, that I needed to grow in, basically. And I did a little research. I'm reading this book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective Network Marketers by Stephen Covey. And he talks about mediocre networker, I'm going to quote this. He says, mediocre network marketers tend to wait to be told what to do. They wait for their upline to take them by the hand and make things happen. When faced with a roadblock, they sigh and make excuses. Well, this is the best we can do considering that we've already talked to everyone we know. Meanwhile, the proactive network marketer says, I will talk to as many people as I need to this week to find one new customer. There's always a way to get it done. Who else can I talk to? Where could I find new contacts? And I was totally the first one. I was like, I reached out to all my friends, like no one else needs it, and then to see Emily reaching out, I'm like, Emily, how the heck? You've been doing this for how long and you still are signing up these people? How are you doing this? And he goes on to talk about the proactive and versus the reactive network marketer. And he says the difference between the proactive and the reactive network marketer is literally the difference between night and day. So he said he's not talking about 25 to 50%, but literally 5,000+% difference. And basically you ask these questions, and this has a lot to do with like talking positively. Okay, so contrast the following reactive excuses with proactive statements. I can't go to my company's annual convention versus I choose not to go to convention. Okay, I totally do this, you guys. I'm learning. I'm admitting my faults. But I did not go to convention, and I was like, I'm not going. I just had a baby, or I could have made it happen and be like, I'm bringing my baby, But people just don't want to hear what I have to say versus I will create an effective presentation that people will want to hear. Another one, I can't think of anyone to talk to versus I choose to find 10 new people to talk to about my business. And 2 more, it says, if only I had more time to prospect. That's so me. I make that excuse all the time. Versus I will make more time for prospecting. And then the last one, I have to go to work versus I choose to work. So if we got to look at our language. We need to look at how we're thinking. And we need to increase our numbers. Look, instead of saying, oh, I reached out to 10 people today and I didn't find anybody. Well, keep reaching out. Tomorrow's a new day. Keep reaching out, and you're sowing those seeds that, those people will, eventually get back to you, and some will join. And so when you increase the numbers, you'll get success.
So true. Thank you so much, Leah, for sharing that. I know that that is absolutely true. It's the law of averages, right? I mean, if you got to 100 people, you're bound to get like 3, 4, 5, 6 of them that will go for it. And you never know which of those people are really going to love their products and are going to run with you. You just never know, but you'll never know unless you try. And so when we're talking about, reaching out to people and what it takes to get to a certain place, I just want to take a moment to talk about goals. and making goals. And I love the things that you shared with us from Stephen Covey, because I'm a big goal setter. Not everybody's a big goal setter, but I feel like you have to set goals. Even if you're not a list person, you have to set goals, and you have to put pen to paper, and you have to write them down. And you've got to be very specific about what you want. So not just saying, oh, this month I want to add 40 people to my team. Break it down by week. Each week I will add 10 people to my team. And then take a look at your back office and see, how am I going to do that? Who on my team is loving their products that I can help get to silver, that I can reach out to on Monday morning and say, this week, let's get your products paid for. Find those people and map out a plan for how you're going to make that 10 people happen, because it's just a wish if there's not a plan. It's not a goal. It's just a wish if you don't have a plan. And so that's what I've done every step of the way to get to where I am. Every month, it's actually on the last day of the month, after that crazy end of the month thing, I actually sit down that night. It doesn't matter if it's 11 or 12 or 1 in the morning. I sit down, I take about 30 minutes of quiet space, go through my back office, make a plan for the next month. Nobody does it for me. Nobody's ever sat down and done it for me. I just do it for myself, because I envision where I want to be. And I say, okay, this month I want to add 300 people to my team. How am I going to do that? What am I going to personally sponsor? Who am I going to help get to gold? Who am I going to help get to senior gold? Make that plan and break it down by week, and then break it down by daily activity, how you're going to do that, what that looks like, and then get into activity and get to work. Basically, get to work. Because like Emily said, it's not easy. And do you have to go as fast as Emily and I? No, you don't have to go in 6 or 7 months to Emerald. It's not necessary. You set your own timeline. And whatever your goal is, maybe it's just you want to be gold, or you want to have your products paid for your entire family, or you're dreaming to be senior Ruby. You need senior Ruby income. Whatever your goal is, it's worthy, it's awesome. We want you to achieve your goal, but you have to make the necessary steps to get there, and it's not just going to come to you. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn the time back over to Emily, and she's going to talk a little bit about, getting people off the fence and how that's helped her in her business to grow her business, and a little bit more about IPA and how that's the magic between that got her to where she is.
So I think that the biggest thing with me is that it literally eats at me all day long if somebody has told me no for 3 months, and I am like, it's like a challenge to me. Like, I'm like, ugh, why are they not ordering yet? I know they need this so badly. And so I don't just sit there and harass them and say, why aren't you ordering? Why aren't you ordering? It's time to join. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this now. You got to get in now. You got to get in early. I've never, ever, ever spoken those words, ever. Because that I know that is not going to get me anywhere with people. And so I'll sit and I'll be like, ooh, filling the water bottles, making dinner. And I'm like, how am I going to talk to her that's going to come off in a way that's going to want her to motivate herself to do this? Like, how am I going to do that in a way that's going to be non-threatening, not pushy? And I'll sit there and I'll think about it and I'll stew about it while I'm doing stuff in my house. And I'll be sitting there and all of a sudden I'll go, okay, if I were her and I was sitting on the fence, what would I want someone to approach me with? And if it's someone that I can't figure out why they keep telling me no, I'll send them a message that says, is the cost the only thing holding you back? Because if they already have told me, wow, it sounds really great, it sounds too good to be true, right? We've all heard that before. I know Stephanie Ash was asking that in the thread when we were saying, what questions do you have? It sounds too good to be true. And I say to them, I know, it totally does. That's what I thought too. And I just ordered on a whim, and I totally had buyer's remorse, tried to call and cancel my order 3 times. This was when customer service had a 2-hour-long wait back in October when they changed over the back office. And I could never get through. And rather than being emotional and throwing a temper tantrum and throwing my products in the garbage when they came or whatever it was, I just decided, look, I just have to know for myself if this is going to work or not. And so sometimes I wonder, maybe they're feeling like I did. And so I try to relate to them in the emotion, because I'm a very blue personality and I'm very controlled by emotions. I act on impulse. And so if I know that that's that person's personality, then I try to relate and empathize to that part with a personal experience of mine. And if they are a fact person, like they're a green personality and they just, what makes them tick is information, then I will say, I know how important facts and knowledge are to you. And I know that you know Plexus is working for me. I know you want it. You've been sitting around thinking about it for 10 months that I've been talking to you about it. Do you feel that you just don't have enough information to make that decision yet? And they go, well, yeah, I guess so. And I say, what is lacking? What would you say is the biggest thing that's still lacking? And then they tell me, and then I help them overcome that. And I think that's the thing that is most that is unique, is that I don't go in with, I am going to convince this person to order today. I go in with, there's something that's holding them up, and I want to figure out what that is so that I can connect with them and help them overcome that. And it's not always me telling them how they're going to overcome it. Like, it's sometimes me guiding them through questions to get them to overcome it on their own. Kind of like parenting, It's like, instead of telling your kids, oh, you need to go get your shoes, they're outside, or I do all the thinking for my kids. Instead, it's smarter to say, sprinklers are going to turn on tonight. Yeah, they are. What do you think's going to happen to your shoes if you leave them out there? What do you think those are going to feel like in the morning? And they go, ooh, last time I did that, they were sopping wet and I had to wear wet shoes to school. And I go, yeah, that, you didn't like that. I remember you saying to me, you didn't like that. And they go, I should go find my shoes outside. I go, yeah, you should. Okay, I'll be right back. And they come back and they've got their shoes. And I'm like, woohoo, way to go. Okay. It's love and logic. Jim Fay's love and logic, right? It's the teacher inside of me. And it's a hard skill to hone. I am not saying it's easy, and it is not that easy when I am working with someone that I've literally been trying to get off the fence for 9 months. But the one common thread that I always find is that if I can get them to come to their own conclusion, they typically do not send their products back or cancel the next month or whatever, because they have gone through all of the thinking themselves. So it's different for every person, and every personality is different. So me sitting and being a cheerleader for people who are green, fact people, is a total turnoff, and it's probably annoying them. If I'm constantly messaging them saying, oh, so excited, can't wait to get you started, let's go, yeah, rah, rah, rah. A green person is going to be like, nope, that's irritating to them. They want you to come in and say, I know how you're still thinking about Plexus. I found this research article today and I had to send it to you. It talks about the slim and how blood sugar balance is so key for type 1 diabetics. I know you're a type 1 diabetic, and I knew you'd want to read this article. Hope this helps as you think through your decision with Plexus. And then they read it and oh, thank you so much. This totally helped me. I'm getting closer. And you go, oh my God, this is so exciting. Then you can let the excitement come out, right? But you got to hone it in, because the green people, they don't work that way. And so the more that I have learned in the past 3 months about relating to people's different personalities has helped me be even more successful to get those really hard people. That's all.
That's awesome. So it's connecting versus convincing, right? If you have to convince people and the only way they'll do it is you throw $30, $40, $50 in their face, or that's the only way you get them to join as an incentive, or you have to convince them or pull teeth, most of the time those people are going to drop off anyway. So you have to master getting people to make their own decision and come to their own conclusion. And when they do, those are the people that tend to stick around, that are there for the long haul, that really have decided, yeah, you know, they've found out what you found out, that Plexus is awesome and that it works and that what's in it is great. So just lastly, Emily, she's talked about this a few times. And if you're in our Journey 101, you heard it in our video. She's going to talk about cleaning potties. And this has to do with IPA and cold compacting, because really the root of our growth has been reaching out to people and personally sponsoring people. You don't have to have a gazillion level ones. I mean, Stephanie Abrams, one of our uplines, doesn't have a gazillion level ones. Amy Paul has a lot of level ones. I have a fair amount. Emily's got a ton. You don't have to have a lot of level ones, but I will tell you the average for people that are Emerald is about 35 to 40 level ones. And so that's why we always say, don't start stacking them under your husband if you have your husband signed up until you've got a sure foundation yourself, until you've got at least 35 or 40 level ones. And how in the world do you get those level ones? You're not going to get 35 to 40 level ones just from Facebook posting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Tell us about potties, Emily.
Okay, so everyone knows now, the whole earth, living on earth knows that I hate cleaning potties now, because this is like the third time I've talked about it. But I just want you all to know how much I hate cleaning potties. Like, I literally look at it and I feel like I have to wash my hands before I even clean it. It grosses me out. I don't like it. I don't like the stuff that my kids leave behind on it. I don't like the stuff that little boys leave behind on it. I don't like the stuff, any of it. And it can even be like, I can wipe it down with sanitizing wipes, and I still don't want to touch it after it's clean, because I feel like it didn't work good enough. And my mom, right, so she's born in 1946, she like washes my kids' underwear in there, and I basically burn them after that. But she, you know, she was cloth diapering, like she raised all of her little siblings, and that's what you did apparently back then. It really, when I found out she was doing that, I literally threw away everything, and I was like, don't do that ever again. The water is just, it is different now than it was then, I promise you. So anyway, I hate cleaning them. So it's always the last thing that I do when I clean my house. I put it off till the very end. And sometimes that means I don't clean them every single week. Sometimes that means I don't clean them every other week. Sometimes it means we'll go 4 weeks without the potties being cleaned. And that's because it's the last thing on my list to do when I clean my house. I like to do the tubs. That's easy. Dawn and vinegar. If you don't know that trick, go on Pinterest. You heat up the vinegar, then you mix it with an equal amount of Dawn. You spray it all over your tub, then you wash it away. It's magic. Magic. Take a before and after picture. You'll thank me later. So then I like doing my sinks, and I like vacuuming. I love to get the vacuum lines, and then but the potties, last thing to do. If that's what IPA is for you, you are not going to grow at the rate you could be growing at. Because if you sit down and you have 15 minutes to do Plexus and you write a beautiful, beautiful Facebook post that everyone on our team copies and reposts, and it's just the best post anyone has ever seen on Plexus ever, that is great. But that is not going to help you most of the time bring in something that's income producing. Sometimes you'll make a good post and you wake up the next morning and 3 people will message you and say, I'm ready to join. But most of the time, that's not what Facebook posts do. What does it is you message 30 people in 1 week. Maybe that's 5 people a day. And let's say you message 5 people every single day, Monday through Saturday, and you take Sundays off. That's 30 people in a week. Typically what I see for my numbers is when I cold message 50 people, 1 person signs up. 1. And then 2 or 3 tell me, yeah, I've been thinking about it, but I still need to think some more. I have some questions, and I get them going back and forth. 3 or 4 say, no, thank you. My favorite is when they say, I eat really clean and I exercise, so I don't need your stuff. That's fun. And then the rest of them ignore me. Totally. Even like good friends that I see on a regular basis. And sometimes now I'll even be like, oh, I saw you saw my message the other day. How are you? Just because I'm a pain in the butt. But, and I like to tease people. So, and they go, oh, yeah, I did see it. And then I don't talk about it with them. I just like to make them uncomfortable for just a second. So they know I know that they know that I saw, that they saw and didn't respond back. Just the one. I don't make it awkward. I just let them know I know that they know. So, my husband's laughing at me.
It's so true. It's so true.
So,
like
anyway,
you gotta make light of it.
You gotta make light of it, you guys. Like, or you just go crazy and you maybe start feeling like sad about yourself.
Yeah.
But even like yesterday at church, I'm walking by and I walked by someone in the hall and they said something like, oh, your trip looks so amazing. And this is like a person of great influence in our church, high leadership. And there are like other auxiliaries around us. And he walks through talking about my trip and I go, hey, I can tell you how to get there with us next year. And everybody laughed and I said, oh, I can do it for all of you guys too. Who wants to join first? And of course I was kidding, right? A little bit. And, but it's like, you have to bring humor into it. Right. And so if you think about how am I going to get people to join and you're feeling frustrated and you're feeling helpless, the only thing you have control over, you don't have control over your friend Stacy who joined under you and is doing nothing. You don't have control over your cousin Sarah who joined and had 5 people sign with her. You don't have control over any of that. The only thing you have control over is messaging people. So whenever I start to feel helpless and like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere, the only thing that brings me peace and serenity is sitting down and sending out 15 cold messages. It's how I calm myself. It's my coping mechanism to this crazy ride of network marketing. Let that be your coping mechanism. One of them, diamond documentaries are another way that I calm myself down when someone has told me that I've lied to them about Plexus not working after 2 weeks and they haven't lost any weight after 2 weeks. So it must be a sham. And I just like want to slam my head in the wall. Like, you're right. It is not for you. You are totally right. Plexus is not for you because it's not a quick fix. Just give me your products. Don't put them in the garbage, for heaven's sakes. I will use them. So, it gives you, if you're a control freak, which a lot of people that like this business have some control issues. If you haven't figured that out yet, maybe it's time to do some personal reflection. A lot of people that have control issues really like this business. So that's the only way you can get control is do IPA. And it has to be the first thing on your list or it's not going to get done consistently. You have to do it with intention because if you just do it when you think about it, it's not going to be done enough. And that doesn't mean that you have to sit down and do 5 a day. What I like is if 5 a day is good for you, and that's great. If you're a list person and you like to sit down and do something daily, great. If you have an hour on the weekend to do 30 in that 1 hour. Do it before you make a beautiful Facebook post. Do it before you respond to messages from your team. Do it before you scroll through Facebook. Eat breakfast first, that's okay. There are things that you need to do first and put as a priority or they're never going to get done because you don't want to touch the dirty potty. I promise you, IPA is everybody's dirty potty. I don't care if you're a diamond or a brand new person with nobody under you. I will say though, it gets easier because most of the time you've spent more time thinking about how you don't want to do it than if you actually had just sat down and done it. Because you think all day, all week, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. They said to do it. I know I should do it. I don't want to do it. I'm going to do a post instead. Okay, my conscience is clear. But they said I should do it. They said I should do it. I should probably do it. I don't want to do it. You spend like 3 hours telling yourself you should do it when you could have just sat down and just done it. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah,
it's true. Well, that is not all we've done, but that is the magic. That's the magic. And if you don't have people joining your team, I promise it's because you are not reaching out. And I'm not talking about you have 70 people on your team, because I know that when you get deeper into Plexus, you need to go out and make new friends. You need to go out and find more ways to expand your network. But if you have never enrolled a single person, or maybe you have 2 people under you and you're saying, I've reached out to my whole network, I know you're not. And if you are, go to the park and make some new friends. And that is going to be hard for some people. That is going to push them outside of their comfort zone. I understand that. And I probably upset some people by what I said, but I think that being brutally honest, if you truly want to succeed in this business, you need someone that's going to be brutally honest with you. And sometimes, like Brooke has made me cry because she's mean. She's just mean. And she says honest, true things to me. And I bawl in a Jeep for like an hour driving home from Hilo back to the hotel, just bawling because she said something true and honest. And it hurt my feelings. But I'm so much better now because of it. And that is what a good friend and leader does. So do your IPA.
And we just want to be
clean your potties first.
Yeah, we just want to be honest with you. We don't want you to think it's a cakewalk. We don't want you to think that, just because of who we are, we got to where we were. It takes a lot of work, and it takes those uncomfortable things. There's just no way around it. And if you have the opportunity to get honest feedback from somebody, take it, because it's hard to get that honest feedback. I've gotten it before as well. And it's not easy to initially take it. But if you really want to be successful, let somebody coach you. Let somebody give you honest feedback, and then go and do what they tell you to do. Because a lot of times other people can see things in you that you can't see in yourself. And it doesn't mean you're not a good person or there's things about you. We all have things to work on, and we all have strengths, and we all have weaknesses. So just work on those things. And then the other thing that I've been thinking about a lot as I've been talking to a lot of my people is just going back to your why. You have to have a strong definition and a strong foundation as to what your why is. And when we were at the Emerald Extravaganza, just to kind of wrap this call up because it's gone kind of long, is doing a meeting with your shareholders. Who are your shareholders? Is it your husband? Is it your husband and your kids? Who is it that's going to have to support you and stand behind you and make some sacrifices alongside you? And what is it that you would love for your life to look like if your life could look like what you wanted it to be? Maybe for you, that's just having your products paid for your entire family. Maybe it's being a gold ambassador. We've already talked about this. Everybody has a different picture. But what if you could dream bigger? What would that look like? Have you talked about that with your spouse? Have you had a real, honest, open conversation with your spouse, with your kids? Have you discovered what it is that you really want and why you would want to do this? Because if you have a really strong why, you'll do your IPA. If you have a really strong need to make this successful, you'll get your butt out of bed and you'll do your IPA every single day. And you'll do your posting, and you'll do your follow-up. You'll be good at follow-up, and you'll be willing to be inconvenienced, because it will take some inconveniencing along the way. It doesn't have to rule your life, but you're going to have to be inconvenienced sometimes. You will be willing to do those things if you know why you are doing it. So find your why, be passionate about it, be honest about it, what it is that you really want, and then dig in your feet and get to work. So anyway, that's what we got for you tonight. I'm sure there were a lot more questions.
Well, there's one other thing that we didn't talk about. Brooke, there's one other thing that we didn't talk about. The one thing that Brooke and I both said, and we just, today, Brooke called me and said, hey, what do you want to talk about with Kona? What do you want to talk about? Like being in Hawaii, like what do you want to talk about? And I said, the weird thing about it for me was being there and feeling like I was really out of place. I felt this forlorning feeling like I wasn't supposed to be there. And it wasn't because I hadn't worked to earn it. I mean, obviously I had. It wasn't that, it wasn't that I am uncomfortable making new friends, it was because I felt like the people who were supposed to be there with me, who helped me get to where I was, weren't there with me. And it left me with this forlorning feeling of, oh my gosh, I cannot come back here again without my team. And I know Brooke felt the very same way. And I just felt like, I got to get home. I got to get home and get to work. Like, we got to get these people moving. We got July 31st. Like, let's go. And so I thought about all of you on my team, on Brooke's team. I feel like we are all so interconnected. We have such great team unity between our teams. And I thought about you guys so much because I just felt like you all are supposed to be there with us. And I want you to believe and to see that if you start right now, you can be there with us. Last year, I wasn't even an ambassador yet. And Brooke was silver today, yeah? Was yesterday your 1 year? I think yesterday was like the day she went silver. Her connection's bad now. So anyway, that's that. And I want you all to be there. I want you to leave this call tonight with belief in yourselves that if you start today, it is achievable and you cannot do it alone. And we are here to help you, and your team is going to help you. And I'm just so excited to watch it all. And then just one last thing to wrap up. Jessica Curzon was asking for people who don't know what IPA is. It stands for Income Producing Activity. And that means cold messaging people. So contacting people who don't reach out to you about Plexus. They've never asked you about it. And you message them and say, oh my gosh, I know how hard your pregnancy is, and I think I have something that could help you. That's what a cold message is. So I hope you all have a really great night. Thank you for taking your time to be on this call with us. And let's get to work for Maui. All right?
Yeah. Let's get to work. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.